A few days ago, Hefest and I beat Riolu's last two world records in Trackmania 2020. These records were thought to be impossible due to physics changes that have happened since Riolu drove his times. The tracks now are simply much slower than what they were when they released, and so the records have been out of reach for many years. We managed to get around this problem by playing on the Chinese Trackmania client, which released in 2020 and was never updated, so it still has the original physics. And with some effort, we managed to get both maps and successfully completed the Beating Riolu project, which has been going since 2023. All in all, a huge success. However, the one annoying detail is that if you ever open the maps that we played in the real game, it'll still show Riolu as rank 1, and that is because the Chinese client is completely offline, and nothing driven there gets sent to the official leaderboards. So the community knows we beat him, we have the video footage of us beating him, but in-game on the leaderboard he'll still have that rank 1, which, you know, it's not ideal, but it's the best we could do with the situation we were in. Or so I thought. You see, here's the thing. A few hours after I posted the video, I got a very funny message on Discord. The message was from Dara, and he asked me what the best time on Fall 20 driven with the new physics was. I had no idea, and I hadn't even tried the map on new physics because I'd assumed, like everyone else, that the bobsleigh changes would make you far too slow, and that there was some reason that it was labeled impossible in 2023. Like, someone had to have tried, grinded the map a lot, and figured out there was no way it was possible to be beaten still. But when I checked the leaderboards, the best time on new physics was a 47.5 by Distastic, and the bobsleigh changes don't make you that slow, so Dara started grinding the track, and he was able to get a copium timer of 46.20. Of course, that was a run with a lot of respawns, but still it showed the potential. That was only 0.2 of a second away from Riolu's world record, and that got me very excited to beat him on the leaderboards. So I also started grinding the map again. I could tell that the map was undoubtedly slower on new physics, but the record wasn't as impossible as people had said. In order to beat Riolu, you just need a higher quality run. A run that, if driven on the old physics, would equate to around a 45.7. In order to achieve that, I'd have to min-max every segment, and I am not the bobsleigh player I used to be. So I sent a message to one of the world's best bobsleigh players, Lack7, asking for help. And immediately he discovered a trick in the start where it's possible to gain up to 1/10 of a second by doing an ice wiggle towards the first checkpoint. Also, in the bobsleigh turns, he showed me that I could get far more speed if I did better inputs. When I drove my 4631, I did the bobsleigh steering mostly just on feeling, and I reached 290 speed at the end of the turn. But Lack gave me a great piece of advice, which is that you always want the nose of the car to pitch a tiny bit down in bobsleigh turns. I was also steering in the wrong action key, using 60% steering where 80% is better at this speed. By improving that movement on a practice map, Lack showed it's possible to gain up to 300 speed in that portion, which was another huge gain. I also found another small improvement in the ending, where traditionally we have let the nose of the car dip down on the big drop. But I found out it's faster to actually instantly air brake, as that gives a bit more speed towards the finish. With all these tiny gains, the record was actually within reach, which is incredible. But now, we actually had to do it, and that was a far more difficult task. god, that was close. Wow, I tied Nika. Alright, let's see the comparison. Where am I losing the last, like, 800th of a second? Obviously gaining the start. Then they come back a bit, but here I have 4th. Riolu only has 3rd. And here they're gonna gain a bunch and probably overtake. Yeah, wow. From this point of view, that I keep this distance only within 800th is pretty good. Please, 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 please. No. You're kidding, bro. No way. Don't tell me that was it. No. It was a long day of grinding. At one point I had to turn off my lights because my eyes were getting too strained. It was 4 AM, but finally, after all that effort, I managed to get this run. Is it enough? No, come on, no, bro. You're not serious. Yep, I somehow managed to tie him to the 1000th. To the 1000th. Like, come on, what do you mean I'm a 1000th away? This was so painful because I knew I could get the record, but it was annoying to have to keep playing after that run clearly should have been it. But I decided to rest up and go again the next day, which started out good with immediately fast pace again. That's so close. Come on, TV. Back to back, I think. That's crazy. So close. Please? Oh, I threw so hard, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was starting to lose my mind at this point. I had gotten so many good attempts, so many close runs, but still I hadn't beat it. And I really wanted to brute force attempts, but I made a wise decision to go back in practice, because I realized I was losing a lot of attempts in the very first ice slide. This is arguably the most important part of the map to execute well, because it's the only segment where I can gain a huge chunk of time towards Riolu, and the execution of that ice slide is extremely precise. You have to release in the entry to slow down, but still stay above 200 speed to preserve 4th gear, and perfectly estimate the ice slide angle with only one release tap as you pass the corner to adjust. If done well, there were several tenths to gain in the section alone, so I spent a long time respawning, driving, and comparing that section, until I got a really good feeling for it, and that would pay its dividends, because finally, after all my effort across 2 days of playing, I finally got this run. please. Please, please, please. Yes, 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 yes. Finally. Oh my god, finally we got it on new physics as well. That's crazy. Wow, that was so difficult. I mean, I had so many runs that were incredibly close. Oh wow, finally. 1,986 days ago, Riolu set this run, but now we got him beat with the new lines from Dara and some help in the bobsleigh from Lack 7. It's all it took. Yeah, better start for me, and then incredibly good steering here. I got up to 302 speed, which makes new bobsleigh not even look that much slower. Crazy. And then here he gets the speed ups that I don't get and overtakes for a moment. And then I did land a bit wide. I thought, oh man, now I'm getting so much of the slow-mo. But then a very good brake tap into insta air brake. It looks like he's gonna win, but then inside line, hello. And then I thought my last landing looked scuffed, but I get a bit of the downhill, and that's enough to beat him. Wow, guys. Wow. And it holds, that's enough. It's even better than my China server time, so I'm actually very happy with that. A 45.958, beating Riolu by 1/100th of a second on a slower physics build and taking him off the top spot of the actual leaderboard. I think this is a really good lesson in not calling something impossible, because no one in the community actually checked whether or not it was possible to beat it. We simply assumed based on what everyone else was saying. But here it is. Finally, after all this time, we've taken away one more Riolu record. Now, unfortunately, the other map that's remaining is completely impossible with the physics build. There is simply no way, because you lose several seconds on that map, not just a couple of tenths. But a fun fact is that the story might not be over on Fall 2020 Map 20, because Dara found an insane strategy there which can take the record much, much slower. What he found out is that at the second last checkpoint, you can go out to the side, bounce on the light, and get the car readjusted to match the uphill angle, land in third gear and keep a bunch of speed towards the finish, saving upwards of half a second. The jump is really hard to aim because you cannot see the light, and the bounce is really precise as well. So this is something that is going to take a while for someone to execute, but likely will beat my world record and be the new world record strategy on the map. So look out for that in the next couple of days. But guys, that is the end of this video. Really cool to be able to beat this record twice. Really happy with the final result. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Thank you.